Good evening, everyone. Oh, great. Now I can't talk. Wonderful. It's lovely for you to join us on this, our last show of 2023, a year that, for the most part, I'm perfectly willing to kiss goodbye and start fresh and start anew. And we just did a whole hour about making that transition on Soul School just a few minutes ago. In case I didn't say class dismissed, class is dismissed until next year um, on Soul School. But tonight I brought Rupert back on the show with me because we had a very long talk today about what the next year looks like, where we're going, how this feels, how this looks, and we want to share our thoughts and our impressions and our feelings with you. So, without further ado, please welcome Rupert Guy to the show.
Hi, Andrea. It's good to see you again.
You too. You too. We had a very interesting conversation today, and I'm going to allow you to just run with it and elaborate on it and share what parts of it that you want to, because we discussed so many different things that I can't remember what we're going to share and what we're going to withhold just a little bit. But we do have big plans for next year. And I told you long ago, and everybody that's watching this, that since I was a child, um, the year 2024 um, stuck in my brain since I was really quite young. And when I was little, I thought that maybe the reason that that year sticks in my brain is because that's the year that I will die. And I have since come to believe that that's the year of metamorphosis, spiritual, emotional, psychological, physical, uh, awakening to reality. Our old reality seen with new eyes. I've come to understand that if we each allow it, that it can be, in a way, the year of our rebirth into a higher consciousness and a greater awareness and a new understanding. And Jeff Turner and I talked about uh, the sadness that so many of us are feeling, the grief that we are feeling. I read the words of Pope Francis that he issued on Christmas Eve about, Bethlehem and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the whole area of Jerusalem being cordoned off, and where normally hundreds of thousands of the faithful of different backgrounds, different um, cultures, different religions gather every year, but not this year. And so I made mention that, again, here we are, no room at the inn for the man that this season is supposed to venerate. And is that the right word? I think it is.
Yeah.
Uh, and so it's up to us to make this season meaningful for ourselves individually in whatever way we determine, whether it's just extending kindness and compassion to other human beings, or if it's in the worship and acknowledgement of a man named Jesus Christ. The changing of the year, we discussed the notion that time as we know it is a human machination, and that it might bear no actual resemblance to the space-time continuum that we presume exists, scientifically, um, but that each day, each new dawn can be a happy new year, a happy new life, a happy new day for each and every one of us, depending on what intention we set for ourselves in the world. So, with that said, and kind of a brief wrap up of what we did for the last hour, why don't you talk about some of what we talked about today, and lead people into hopefully uh, joining us on this great adventure, because I do believe that 2024 will be a pivotal year in the course of human evolution and in our understanding of who we are, where we came from, why we're here, and where we're going.
Yeah,
It's a lot,
I
Patty. I know.
I agree with you. This coming year is gonna be very special in many different ways.
Mhm.
Congratulations to you and to everybody else here who has made it through this last year. It's been easier for some than others,
Yeah.
but uh, you and I, Andrea, we've both faced our challenges. But 2024, that's not the year that you're going to be leaving us. That is the year when what the work that you and I are doing, and I call it work, but really it's not so much work. It's a passion. It's a mission.
It is.
It's a reason for us being alive, which we can't help but do. Our our reason is going to be this year, or 2024, to really accelerate everything we're doing, to really make leaps and strides in the direction of universal peace, universal love, universal happiness. And we have a number of different ways that we are doing that. But the key to it all lies in that word universal.
Yes.
This is the year when humans, some humans, not all humans probably yet, but some humans and some non-human interstellar entities, we are going to come together in a far more deliberate, purposeful, and strong way, connecting with each other together in a way that is tangible in
Yes.
order to move this planet, this region of space, in a much better direction. You and I have talked, Andrea, quite a lot about how we have been guided to each other.
Yes.
It is not just a feeling. It's not just wishful thinking. No, there are people out there that have told us they were told that we need to meet each other. They were
Mhm.
told that, and it's not just you and me. It's also people in our audience who are watching. I
Yes.
think it's Bill too.
Yeah.
I think
I
there
know
are,
it's Bill too. I
yeah,
know it is.
and there are probably other people on the list we could add. Maybe even maybe I'm thinking about Deb
Mhm.
and other people out there. We are being guided together. We have been guided together purposefully
Yes.
by conscious entities wanting us to work together because they like what we're doing. They like um, they like our philosophies, and they are supporting us.
Yes. And
Um,
they also know that if we come together in greater numbers, that and increasingly greater numbers, not only do we have, tangible evidence that we're making some headway, but that there's power in those numbers,
mhm,
that each life that each one of us touches, if we do it right and we do it well, then the message that we impart, they in turn will impart to those that they love, to those who are like minded among their circle, and grow this consciousness of co-creating with the universe, working in concert, working in tandem. And I believe that that's a very big part of what we're doing. And on Soul School, we often talk about the test in this life always precedes the lesson. And I think that we have faced some extraordinary tests in this past year, but that the lessons will reveal themselves in 2024 in a beautiful way. Um, I said something, my friend Cass, she left this morning to go back to Michigan. She should be arriving home any minute. Um, and we were not arguing, but we were having a discussion about um, the overturning of Roe v. Wade and the impact that that has had on our society. And I said something that I think she thought was a little controversial, a little provocative. And what I said was, it had to happen to mobilize people. It had to happen for people to wake up and realize that the government is telling more than 50% of the population what we can and cannot do with our own bodies, and has basically ripped uh, our autonomy, our self-possession, our self-control, our ourselves from our own ability to reason, make sometimes very difficult decisions. And I just looked at her and she's like, well, that's just ridiculous. And I said, there are women in this country right now, this minute, who are suffering and dying because they don't have access to reproductive health services. Women with ectopic pregnancies, women who are bleeding out. A woman, I believe, in Indiana was just arrested for having a miscarriage of a baby she desperately wanted, arrested because she had a miscarriage. None of this would be happening, and these people would not be suffering like this if the law of the land had been maintained. Is something that most all sensible people agreed with for the last 50 years, just suddenly overturned with the promise of more rights to be stripped away from us in the future. And my argument was, this had to happen. It's the only way to wake people up, is to shock them into reality, into awareness that things are not always as they appear, and that powerful people will do whatever is necessary to serve themselves, first of all, and their own ideologies, but also to place their thumb squarely on those that they're supposed to serve, because it quells the masses. And so, here we are in 2023, a year in, more than a year in, to this aberration that, in my opinion, has occurred because it had to, because it was the slap in the face that we all needed, women and men alike, to realize that the few cannot control the many. And look at the uprisings that are occurring all over the earth, where people are saying, my freedom, my freedom, my freedom. I want my freedom. Well, we've had one of our freedoms stripped away from us, um, in a very harsh and a very severe way. And people in power overreaching to such an extent that in many states in this country, um, they want a full, complete 100% ban, regardless of rape, incest, or the life of the mother. This is extremism in the extreme. And it's that slap in the face that we sometimes need, that bucket of ice cold water just dashed across our bodies, just laying there prone and oblivious to what is going on in this world. And I think that 2024 is going to represent a sea change and a great awakening on many different fronts, many different fronts. I mean, look what's happening now with, protests all over the world about not only the attacks that happened in Israel on October 7th, but then the response, and how many people are so upset, myself included, worldwide, about, you know, how many civilians were bombed to death in Ukraine today. Directly targeted civilians, a maternity hospital, directly targeted in retaliation for Ukraine blowing up a ship in the Black Sea that had warriors on it. We had military people on that ship. Um, and what I said to Jeff is, I don't. It's very easy to feel hopeless because I don't think we're learning what we need to learn in soul school. But after the conversation that I had with you today prior to doing this show, I did feel more hopeful. I did feel like maybe there's a chance, just a chance, that working in concert with our galactic family, working in concert with each other on this planet, that we can make a stunning, striking difference, not incremental, not a little bit, not morsels scattered in the forest, but a giant leap, a quantum leap in consciousness. And I think that that's what this next year represents. And I feel to the core of my being that you and I and our circle, our huge circle, our family that's out there listening to this, watching this, are an integral part of this process. And so on this last show of 2023, which has been a very difficult year for a lot of people, I will say to everyone listening that one of the very best things that happened to me this year was finally meeting you and putting our heads together and our hearts together for the greater good of mankind and the healing and the spreading of love. And I feel empowered again when I was feeling weak for a while. I told you, I confessed I was thinking very seriously with all that's going on in my life and my mother's needs, that this would maybe be a good time for me to step away. And then I met you, and it clarified and redefined my mission. And I want to say publicly, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. It's very touching to hear you say those things. Meeting you was a profound experience for me too. All of the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle fell into place, and we're meant to be. We're meant to have met. We're meant to be working together, and the people who are listening, watching this show, those people are meant to be here also.
I agree.
And even though it's you and me up here doing all the talking, they are involved. They are part of our family as well.
Yeah. And they're doing the thinking, the listening and the thinking and the processing and deciding if they're all in with us.
Yeah.
That if our mission is their mission. And maybe it's not. Maybe they're just curious and fascinated about what we might be talking about, but their lives preclude them from maybe attending some of our events or, doing what we do together, in a group um, at these, different gatherings. But it doesn't mean that their heart's not in it with
Yeah.
us. And
Yeah.
that's energy and power and intention as well.
Yeah. The way I see it is we're all traveling along a path or a road,
Yeah.
and we have reached a crossroads
Yes.
in the world, in this country, and there are three different options available to us. There is one option: just keep walking in the same direction, keep traveling in the same direction, and maybe I'm going to say. Uh, not to prejudge people, but without too much thought, just keep doing what you're doing, just keep moving in the same direction. We know where that direction is taking us, though, because scientifically and also spiritually, we can see that the direction humanity is presently on isn't so great. We've got, as I've said before, over 13,000 nuclear weapons ready to go, and people are having spiritual people are having visions, and have been for a long time, of a future with missiles flying through the sky and explosions. That's the path we're on. That's our present future. We've got people who are taking one way, a second route at this crossroad, and that route is literally accelerating us towards our destruction. It's jumping off the precipice. It is pushing dark agendas. It is choosing a selfish direction that they can see. This is not a bright, loving, positive direction, but for them, they feel that it is the most beneficial to them in themselves. Don't care about other people. This is what I want. This is going to serve me well. But they're not seeing that if you go down that direction, you're just going to be going over the edge quicker.
Yeah.
And the other direction, of course, is the direction that we're encouraging people to take. And that is a powerful direction that our galactic friends are encouraging us to take and have been for decades. They're supporting me and they're supporting you in spreading the word that maybe we should go in this direction.
Yes.
And it is a direction that is not selfish. When we say things like universal peace, that's not a selfish thing.
No.
That is being non-violent, non-aggressive, being caring, being considerate to all sentient beings. Universal love, that is a caring thing. That's the opposite of being selfish. That's being empathic. That's wishing everybody well. Universal happiness, because it's not just surviving, it's thriving. It is making people's lives, helping people to reach the fullest potential of their lives, which almost nobody is. If you've ever experienced the highest levels of love and happiness and joy, that is possible, and people experience that sometimes. We should be experiencing that every day.
Yes.
And we can, if we choose the right direction, which is not the selfish route. The way to make oneself as an individual more happy and more fulfilled is to help others to reach that. So you and me and anybody that wants to follow us along this path, that's the direction we're taking. But it is a choice.
It is.
If you keep doing what you're doing, it's not going to happen. We need to change the future. We can change the future. We know we can change the future because we have beings from the future assisting us.
Yes.
And they're assisting us because we can make the future what we want it to be. So you know, I know, Andrea, you feel you voiced to me that you don't feel like you're here for everybody. I kind of feel like you and I, we are here for everybody in from the perspective of we welcome everybody to come with
Yes.
us.
Yes. In that respect, that's
Yes,
true.
but we're not going to force anybody
No.
to come with us. We're not going to coerce people to come with us. It has to be a choice.
Mhm.
Everybody listening to this podcast, you have a choice.
Every
And that
day.
every day, every second of every day,
Yeah.
with every word that you speak, with
Mhm.
every word that you type, with every post you make on social media,
And
with
every
every
thought
thought.
that you think, because thoughts are things.
Yes.
Everything that it manifests into existence begins as a thought, an idea, a dream, a concept, a wish fulfilled, a desire. And, the desk that I'm sitting at was handmade by a craftsman probably 150 years ago who is long gone from the earth, but the creation remains.
Mm.
It's if we think about what we put out into the world as tangible, not only the energy that we put into actually living, but what we create, whether it be a sublime piece of music or a beautiful poem or writing a book or making a film or, whatever we do with uh, our vision. And that's what we talked about today. You and I have a vision of what we want to put out into the world and how, as a gift, we're not looking for anything in return from it, just a gift out into the world. These are the messages that we are receiving. We impart them to you. Receive them as you please and process them as you please. And it's up to each and every individual to do that in their own way, in their own time. Uh, but I have to believe that we can make a difference in this world. I have to believe that
We can.
because I've already seen it happen. I've seen it happen, and so have you.
Yeah.
People coming up to you after we do our thing, whatever, our conscious cosmic contact is what I call it, um, who come up to me and just drape themselves over my shoulders and in my arms and just cry because they've had the experience that they've longed to have their whole life. And it's not that I performed a magic trick or that you performed a magic trick. All we did was something very simple. We established contact for them by reestablishing it for ourselves with our brethren, with our galactic family. And they made themselves known to the people that gathered with us. What an incredibly powerful, inspiring thing. And one of the things that we talked about that I would like you to um, elaborate on some is we talked about fear and how that functions in terms of what we do. And so many people are afraid to make that contact because they don't know who they're talking to. They don't know who they're connecting with. And it's, I think, part of our mission to dispel that fear. And, perhaps not in the masses, but with enough people that the contact is so strong that they begin to make their presence known on a wider scale with our assistance down here. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, you've said it before, but if these beings meant us harm, we would be harmed already.
Yes, precisely.
And
Logic
we're,
dictates.
yeah,
Inductive and deductive reasoning together
yeah.
dictates. If it
So
was gonna happen, it already would have. Yeah.
yeah, they're not here to harm us. That
No.
has been very clearly established. Could they harm us? Absolutely. They
Sure.
could wipe us off the face of the planet if
Take
they
the
wanted
planet
to,
for themselves to do as they please. Yeah, absolutely.
but that's not their way.
No.
They have a higher level of morality. They even when they're poked and prodded and attacked, they don't respond back with violence. It's not an eye for an eye in their cultures. Um, so people who are out there who are either having experiences where they're a bit scared of those experiences, or they're a bit nervous, a bit fearful of trying some of the contact events that we're doing. If you're feeling nervous, you know, that is a healthy human reaction to the experience, to being confronted with anything that you don't know anything about.
Right.
But intellectually, we do know something about it. We do know that it is peaceful.
Mhm.
We do know that it is friendly. And in time, if you have these experiences too, you can learn that these experiences are very, very loving, very supportive, very nurturing. So, don't be ashamed of yourself or feel guilty if you're feeling fear, but it's what we then do with that fear that
Right.
defines who we are, what our
Yes.
character truly is. And if you are strong enough and loving enough to inside fill yourself with love, to radiate that love outwards from your heart to these beings, regardless of their appearance, regardless of when they show up to you, because sometimes they will come to you, when you're asleep.
Mhm.
Um, if you're prepared to radiate love, then you will establish a loving relationship with them.
Yes. Absolutely true.
Now,
I invite everybody to participate with us and all that we will be doing this coming year, beginning as early as next week. And just, watch for announcements. You can go to Galactic Wisdom, which is your show and your page on Facebook, and follow up with you. And you can find everything that that we will be doing, that we will be producing, and events that we will be appearing at together in the coming year will all be posted on my Buttercup Brigade fan page, the page created because I'm such a big fan of my followers. They're like, you got to have a place where you can talk to these people and, like really not have them get lost in thousands and thousands of messages on your main page. I think it was Linny that told me that I had to do that. And she's the one that, yeah, so it's all good. I wanted to tonight, as we're closing out this year, if there are any questions, Bill, or anybody has any comments that they want to share with us, just let us know. Sometimes our audience, Rupert, you'll find doing my show over time, sometimes they just sit there, even in chat rooms, and are just so caught up in the conversation that they forget to write anything down in it. And that's kind of a compliment too, when you think about it. But if anybody does have any questions, problems, concerns for 2024, don't hesitate to ask us. And in our remaining time, we will
yeah.
try to address those for you. Uh,
And can I talk a little bit about one of our collaborations that we
Yes, please. Yeah, because
so
I can't remember what I can divulge and what I can't. Okay, so
okay.
so it's all on you, Rupert. It's on you.
So we're going to be collaborating on some videos that we're going to
Yes.
make together, and
3,000 miles apart. Yes, we are.
yeah, because we will be doing hopefully a fair few in-person events
Mhm.
this coming year, and they will be amazing, I am sure. But in the meantime, we are going to be collaborating on the making of a number of videos. and there are going to be videos. We haven't figured out the titles yet of these videos, like Rupert presents Andrea Perron talking about
No,
something.
doesn't work for me.
Okay. We will discuss it and make sure we come up with a good title.
Yeah,
But
something catchy. Yeah.
some of the I guess we're going to call them documentaries. Some of the little documentaries, just you and I together working on, are going to be about your experiences, because you've had, wow, you've had some experiences, and there's a lot of people that are going to find your experiences to be fascinating, informative, enlightening, and to help them in their paths going the right way towards enlightenment and ascension. So those videos are going to be posted in your on your YouTube channel.
Yes.
So if our audience members, if you are not yet subscribed to Andrea's YouTube channel, please subscribe to it. What's the name of your YouTube channel? Can you remember?
Andrea Perrin YouTube. It's pretty simple stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. I didn't even know how to set up a YouTube channel. My friend Marge did it for me. I'm such a
Fantastic.
techno idiot. You know that. You gotta take care of all that stuff. I'm wearing earbuds tonight because I can't find the right setting to put the volume back on the
Oh,
computer
no.
after my sister had to do a podcast where they changed settings. So we're gonna have to finagle with it, you know, later, because we didn't have time to do it before the show tonight. But yeah, I hate these things. God, they're just so annoying and they tickle and
Oh, dear.
you saw my boo-boo hand, right?
Oh,
Did you
no.
hear?
What
Oh my
happened?
god, oh my god, yeah. I tried to well, I didn't try to, it was an accident, but, I was cooking on Christmas Day and not handling the knife as appropriately as I should, and almost took off 3 of my fingers.
Oh,
But that was the end of the cooking for me for the day. Everybody else just hopped right in and took over and finished the meal. And I just sat there, you know, like, "Oh my god, it hurts," because it did. And I couldn't stop the bleeding for about an hour, and that was bad. But it finally did, and it all, you know, it's okay. I've already removed 2 of the bandages, so this finger is almost back to like, it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay, but I got the boo-boo fingers.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay, I'll be alright. I know better. You know, God almighty, I owned a restaurant for 10 years. I know how to use a butcher knife. Oh, a few people on this planet I'd like to use it on. That's probably not
No, she didn't really mean that.
No, that's yeah, that's
We'll
probably a
edit
little
that out.
counterintuitive to what we were talking about, yeah, but, you know, sometimes it just slips out, you know?
Yeah. Um, so yeah, our YouTube channels. I also have a Galactic Wisdom YouTube channel. It's
Mhm,
it's at Galactic Wisdom now, and the videos are going to be posted there. But there's also something else that I've put together that I think is very important. I call it the Cosmic Wisdom Course. There is a course, a sequence of activities that anybody can work through. I have a PDF, a file, a chart that you can download, print out. It's called the Cosmic Wisdom course. And these activities you can work through. There's about 30 steps in this course. And some of those steps are doing things like meditation, coming to my sessions where I teach
mhm,
meditation,
mhm,
astral projection, remote viewing,
mhm.
manifestation, healing. Learn healing so that you can, everybody learn healing so that you can, from afar, heal Andrea's fingers as quickly as possible. Um, and there's also informational sessions where I teach people about a whole range of different subjects. Um, Also within wisdom is really, I call it the thinking pillar of
Mhm,
my system. It's really helping people to figure out, how do you work out what's true in this world and what isn't? because there's so
Mhm.
much disinformation and
Yeah.
misinformation in
Yeah.
this world. It's
Yeah.
sometimes hard for good people to say, well, what is true?
Yeah.
Is that true or is that true? I don't know. I'm
Mhm.
that, the course helps people to figure that out. And also there's a very strong morality component within this course. So I am making a series of videos of these 30 steps. And Andrea today was so kind and generous in agreeing to my suggestion that she watch through one at a time these videos and give her own feedback recorded on video that we
Mhm.
will add on to the end of each of my videos. And I think this is wonderful. And I say this not just because Andrea agrees with everything I say, because, we have
We
differences of
don't. We don't. We
yeah,
respectfully and lovingly disagree and expand each other's thought process, accordingly when we never argue, we just talk things through.
yeah,
Um, and I'll give you my perspective, you'll give me yours,
yeah.
and it's not about convincing I you know, either of us trying to convince the other that we're right and you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, or vice versa.
Mm,
It's not about that. It's ultimately, I think it's about expanding our collective consciousness.
mhm,
And both of us have obviously put a great deal of time and thought into processing our own experiences
mhm,
and coming up with uh, certain solutions personally, and for the greater good. And so we're sharing that. And I think, as I've discussed with you, modeling how to be civilized human beings, how to maybe disagree about something, but do so in a way that, we're not placating each other, but that we're making each other aware of that difference of opinion and why it exists, and how we reasoned, to get to the point that we're at. And I think ultimately that will serve a purpose as well. Not just that we're talking, but how we talk to each other and how we approach different manifestations of our own experiences, what that taught us. And the thing that I think is so interesting about it is that, as we've discussed in the past, it really is ultimately a merging of the science and the spirituality coming together to illuminate these subjects in an entirely different way. I think about it as, when you look at the incredible photographs that are coming beamed back to Earth from the Webb telescope, and you see the color and the interplay of the gases and the dust in space, and how everything is all related, all interacts, is all one thing. Um, that's how I think about what we're doing, that it is a true coming together, maybe from slightly different perspectives, but ultimately pieces of the whole that are interacting.
yeah,
Um, and everybody else that whose mind or heart or consciousness we touch, they're a part of that puzzle too. Doesn't mean that we're going to come up with any definitive answers. I don't think anybody should expect it, nor do I think that we necessarily should know all the answers. As with we've discussed with the spirits not being able to tell us quite exactly where they are. Um, but they're somewhere and they're interacting um, intelligently. That's amazing. To me, that's miraculous. And I don't throw that word around. But to me, that's what that feels like, is miraculous. But I also say magic is science. We don't understand. It's not that it doesn't exist. We haven't explained it scientifically yet. And truth and mathematics, I perceive to be universal. Truth is truth. And to be able to determine what that truth is, um, in a logical way, but also in an intuitive way. And I'm presuming that part of what you're teaching in this course is how to feel on a visceral level when you're being lied to. When the truth is being masked, or it's being subverted, or it's being redirected, or it's being shunned.
Yeah.
Um, and that, when you get into that place where you can feel, I always know when I'm being lied to. I always know. Nobody even, I can't even, I know instantly if somebody's being dishonest with me. I feel it. And there's a way to nurture that intuitive quality that I believe that we all possess. So I feel certain. I don't know for certain because we haven't discussed that precisely, but I feel certain that in this process of teaching people how to become more self-aware, more in touch, more connected, that's part of the process. Am I wrong, or is it something you're going to have to stick
You are absolutely right. I think there's a lot of very clever, very dark manipulators in the world.
Yes. Yes.
And those manipulators really use our emotions against us.
Mhm.
And I'm slowing down, and I feel very distracted, Andrea, because I keep seeing something behind you.
Really? You
And
mean my
when I
dinky dog? She's right
no,
there.
no, when I focus my eyes specifically behind you, there's nothing there. But it feels like I keep seeing a large glowing vessel,
Awesome.
a large light blue glowing vessel behind you. I feel like you are in the presence of something extraordinary, because when I focus my eyes on it, I can't see it. But when I'm just talking with you, just keeps flashing up
Like a
in my
pulsating thing. I saw
yeah.
that. What did he say? Uh-huh. 5 minutes. Okay, fine, Bill. Oh God. Yeah, okay. Well, I always invite them in, but this is my sister's house. Please don't tell her. Please don't tell her they were here during the show, because I've had this actually happen many, many times over the years. Bill will tell you. I mean, many times that suddenly something flies behind me. I've even had a vessel, tiny, tiny. It was like the size of a tic tac, come right between me and my camera.
Really?
Yeah, and then ping, there's like a little puff of light, and it was gone. And everybody that was watching the show saw it. It's in the archive somewhere. I don't even know. It kind of happens so frequently. I don't try to keep up with it much. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And because you're so in tune with them. But yes, I've been feeling kind of a weird pulsating, a sense of the air almost moving, and the ceiling fan's not on, so I
Yeah.
know it's not that.
I'm
But yeah,
looking at
well, that's very cool. That's excellent.
yeah, I'm looking at the comments. Jonathan is seeing it also.
Oh, good. Well, he
Um,
would, because he's like, oh, Jonathan. I can't wait for you to meet Jonathan Altieri. He is such a gifted, gifted human being. So kind, so pure, so wonderful. Jonathan, I love you, my dear, with all my heart. I'll see you the instant I return to Rhode Island. He's always there to greet me. Always there to greet me. Yeah, we have to get you to the farm too. We have to make
oh
a
yeah.
a special trip, and I will take you out into the back acreage, into a night sky that has no residual light polluting it at all. and let you stare up into the Milky Way with me, and we'll just lay in the garden spot on the grass and behold, behold the
I would not
universe.
I would not be surprised if we have something land
Yeah.
next to us.
Well, me either. Okay, Bill, really? Okay, I told everybody on Soul School too. We all got together to buy him a new clock because apparently his is dysfunctional and it's on back order from Amazon. Oh, God. So this is our opportunity tonight, as we in our last closing minutes, to tell people stay tuned and hop on. Join us. Join us. There is no more important or critical mission on earth at this time. We are all here together at this time to do our part to save each other, save ourselves as a race, and to save this magnificent planet. And we have help. We have to invite them, don't we, Rupert?
We do.
They're not impetuous. They're very conscientious, and they don't want to do anything to harm anyone. They don't. So there are no truer words that I have ever spoken than those words. And I've heard the same words from you. We are in this together, and everyone is welcome to join us, to meet with us, to create, to co-create and coexist in a magnificent, wondrous universe. So thank you so much for joining me tonight and for ending this year, since you were such a pivotal part of this year for me and such a glowing reaffirmation. I thought it only proper that you be with us tonight, and we didn't see, they just wanted to hear us flap our lips. Nobody even asked us anything. So I guess there's always next week. But anyway, thank you, Rupert, for joining us. Thank you for being my friend.
Oh,
Thank you for being my star brother and for being a bright light in the firmament. It means everything to me, more than I can express in mere words. And Bill, we love you like our luggage. I'm telling you, man, you're just the best, simply the best. And so, for everyone who's joining us, let this be a world awakening to the possibilities that are sprawling themselves in front of us in the year 2024. And with that, I say, be the light you seek.